Taking this from the top down and we top down and we doing it fast. Share the video. See you outside there. Others will catch it on the rerun. Dealing with this now. You see, that gate in Bayshore is a continuation of a video that had thrown Trinidad into an outrage on the Anthony Bourdain show. There were a couple people in this country that hell-bent on separating themselves from the rest of society. And if you mention it, they want to attack you for talking about it. Let's talk about it. Brotherhood of the boat. Because everybody come here from somewhere with nothing in their pocket. Nobody. Well, a couple of French Creoles came here with money to buy land under the schedule of population, where the Spanish and the French and the British at different times were given land in Trinidad and Tobago based on how many Negroes you owned and how many land you were able to farm. That's another time. This time now, when all of the people came to Trinidad and Tobago, our ancestors, most of them came here fleeing their homeland. Fleeing their homeland. Besides the Indians who came here as indentureship, some came here fleeing India. Chinese people came here fleeing China. The unification of China was a violent and bloody affair. They killed millions of people to unite China. Some of you may not know that. And a lot of the Chinese that came here were fleeing the violence of China. The Jews that came here were fleeing Hitler and World War II. If you drive through Pity Valley, you will see some streets named some very strange Jewish names. And that's where all the Jews who came to Trinidad and Tobago were put up. See my cousin Aaron Alexander on the thread. Good afternoon, Aaron. Syrian people came to Trinidad and Tobago escaping the collapse of the Ottoman Empire and the craziness that has been going on in Syria, Lebanon, the Middle East for all of modern history. They've been fighting and killing and tearing one another apart over oil and religion. What is ironic has always been supremely ironic to me is Islam and Christianity both come from Abraham, the father of Judaism. All three religions have one father, Abraham. Abraham, two sons, Isaac and Ishmael. Christianity, Islam. Abraham is the father of Judaism. All three of those religions come from one man. But stick a pin. Those wars that have been fighting, have driven people from their homelands. And a lot of the Syrians and the Lebanese and the other Arabs that found their way to Trinidad and Tobago found their way here penniless, with nothing. They get on a boat, they couldn't speak the language. They hear about America, and they go into America. Unscrupulous boat captains drop them all over the Caribbean. Anywhere they have Syrians in the Caribbean, or Lebanese or Arabs, none of them were going there. They were dropped there. I'll never forget, me and a boy named Johnny DeVertile, when we were small, we was going to a party in Tunapuna. At Tunapuna, we take a taxi, and the man who driving the taxi realized, we don't know where we're going. You take our money and drop we in El Socorro crazy and tell we in Tunapuna. Then I take our next taxi and somebody will give you. Anyway, that's one of these Syrians and Lebanese who in Trinidad and Tobago. None of them leave Syria and Lebanon to come to Trinidad and Tobago. No. When the captain of the boat docked here, they thought it was in America. America. Trinidad and Tobago. This issue with the Bayshore gates, the reason people are not understanding why this particular gated community, we'll deal with all the issues, we'll deal with all the issues. There are people who are raising the issue of preservation of the community. The most perfect community, residential area in Trinidad and Tobago, in my mind, was Woodbrook. And many of these same people who are trying to preserve Bayshore went into Woodbrook and bought up properties because John Rahal was mayor. And John Rahal, as mayor, made it possible for people to operate commercial businesses in residential houses. Prior to that, Woodbrook was controlled where you could only own a 75-25 business, which meant 75% of the property had to be residential. You could do a business on 25%. Some got variations for Discomat and Rambaran's Drugs and Dairy Queen, but Homer's Pharmacy, in the main, Woodbrook was residential community. They destroyed it. They create the avenue. Because money, because profiteering, and John Rahal, who have many questions for many things to answer in this country, made it so and destroyed the most perfect, purpose-built residential community in this country's history. Woodbrook, for strict profiteering, drove the old people out of business, out of their homes, terrorized them with noise, piss on their front gate, thief their car, bust their window. All these things that you hear in Bayshore, Michael Patrick Aboud and Mikey Nahus and the others that making noise. This is what happened to Woodbrook. Only went into Woodbrook and commercialized the place to the extent where people couldn't survive in their own home. Couldn't survive. And had to leave and escape. And further the destruction and the commercialization of the best, most perfect, cosmopolitan, well set up residential area in Trinidad and Tobago. The issue of the gates in Bayshore, the problem with it is that all of those streets off of Bayshore, you could put gates on those streets and nobody have a problem with that because those are dead-end streets. Gate your street, no problem. If you want to protect your house and you want to protect your property from crime, gate it. Because we can't get all of us together to agree that as long as greed and separation runs this country, we'll never solve the social problems of crime. Because crime is a function of poverty. I have a friend who tells me he know plenty poor people who don't commit crime. And that's not the point. The point is, without poverty, there is no low-level crime. High-level crime continues. But the bottom-down crime that you get, the robbery and the jumping wall and the holding up and that is a function of poverty. You cannot organize a gang and get gang members to join your gang in a community where the family is respected and the structure of the family and the ability to own a home and the father and maybe the mother to get proper paying jobs exists. The children are being raised properly in a home where their needs are being met. And all of their needs, including the need for intimacy, inclusion, actualization, and love. When those things are being met, you can't get them to join your gang. The gang culture only thrives in pure poverty, where father absent, mother working 3 jobs a day, and children have nobody to love them. And all human beings, all, have the same needs. All human beings want to be liked, want to be loved, want to be respected, want to maximize their potential, want to be seen as successful, want to be included. Those are human traits at every level of society. So don't feel that you up on top, you alone want to like yourself and feel good. The people on the bottom, if they don't have the opportunity to hold their families together and their communities together, they will create gangs. The crime and the violence that you're gating yourself away from, you're causing. Because if we are not treating with this issue, if unchecked wealth and greed is going to suck all the money out of the country, then these people at the bottom going to end up with no choice but to commit crime. Senior attorney told the nation, when 20,000 people do the common entrance exam and 3,000 get into prestige schools and 17,000 also ran, by the time the SEA, by the time it reaches CXC level, thousands have already dropped out of the system. Thousands have failed. The top level goes on to tertiary education. The level just below that, couple thousand, get some good jobs, insurance companies, in the banks. They become mid-management. They become Trinidad's middle class. Below that, there are about 4,000 people that become security guards, KFC box packers, floor moppers. And under that, 7,000 people every year, no job for them, no place in society for them. What do you expect to happen to them? Are they supposed to curl up and die, climb up on top of a tall building and jump off, drink Gramazone, hop on a plane and get to America and hope Uncle Sam get them an end? What do you expect happens to them? 7,000 a year. So we averaging, for the past 20 years, 140,000 people. 140,000 people, more than 10% in the last 20 years. That's between the age of 40 and 20. That's a criminal bandwidth right there. 140,000 criminals that our education system and our failed social system and our lack of real governance or management has manufactured. We have created this. We have created this, and I'm not knocking the floor moppers and the box packers and the baton twirlers, but their salaries are shit and they're catching their ass, and all they need is one of their offspring, because you love your children when you're rich. Believe me, the people who poor love their children too. And the same way you just get on when you get a diagnosis that your child need a surgery or your child need a special shoes, the same way they feel. The difference is you could dip, you could call on the insurance, you could take a loan, you could even have a barbecue and get friends to buy. And the people at the bottom rung of society, you left them no choice but to reach out to Charlie, because Charlie had checked them and said, listen, all you have to do is drive the car, you know. We renting a car from Massey, and all you have to do is drive the car. We doing the robbery, you getting your share. We moving the coke, you getting your share. We create this by our ignorance. So Michael Nahus and Patrick Aboud and all the other people who want to defend the gating of society, I want to explain to you, when you tell me about the crime in our society, I want to explain to you, it is our ignorance and malfeasance and inability to understand and treat with the fact that society is a responsibility of all of us. And the more you know, is the greater your responsibility. The stupid and the ignorant, you can't argue with them. Them just trying to survive. Isn't it in our best interest always to make sure while we posting our pics on Facebook that my child passed for Fatima? 20 points. But if you don't help Mokorapo going and rob your child in the future. Because if they have no room for him, what happening? What thing going to happen? We move through this country like stunting jackasses. All of us just want to impress each other. We just want each other to say, hey, she cute. Hey, look, she have fancy clothes. He driving a nice car. His dick must be big. Because we have to be insane to have a country this blessed, this easy to manage, and make this much of a shithole of it. If we continue every single year to put 7,000 to 9,000 bandits into the society and expect Gary Griffith and his G units to gun them down or lock them up, we ain't going nowhere. The solution to all of the problems, one more time, the solution to all of the problems is like a rising tide lifts all boats. That you elect a government to office that understands that the well-being of all of the citizens, including the 7,000 that fail our failed education system, is the function, purpose, and responsibility of government. And the day we as a people put aside the bullshit of our ignorance, our ego, and our greed, and understand that our collective nation, the condition, the tone, the tenor, the timbre of Trinidad and Tobago is determined by one thing only: the choices we collectively make. We could stunt for them. We could organize ourselves, preen and pose for them. We could party for them. But if we not operate in this country in the best interest of everybody so that everybody could have their needs met, hope and opportunity could ring and reign throughout the land, that people have chance to maximize their own innate and inherent potential, we will be creating the society that has us living like criminals, fighting criminals, day and night. The country that we want is as a direct result of what we do next. Having Ada Aboud Polony and Lindsay Gillett beating the tribe into a real frenzy. Fella named Dave Suklal come out and attack Philip this morning, boy. And a bunch of them open up Philip, because Philip tells you, if you put up that gate, the precedent that you will set, the segregation, will take this suffering and hunger and make it worse. Because you will now create strangers among the citizens. People who you can't pass day. And you see that? What would make a man rob you but don't kill you is a knower or a seer. Or you remind me about somebody who was nice to me. We created a country where we're making it difficult for our people to relate to each other. And while you feel safe on the inside of your gate, don't come out. Because everything that you leave to fester and spoil is getting worse in your absence, waiting on you and your offspring. You will age out of the opportunity to use reason and effort to fix our collective condition and leave your children to face the music that you pay the piper for. The country that we want is not more gates, it's more tables. The country that we want is not more gates, it's more jobs. The country that we want is not more gates, it's more opportunity. When Peter George told Anthony Bourdain, I watched it again this morning, and he said to him, there used to be a middle class, but they get poor now. Peter George don't understand why they got poor. In a country that had 2 booms, that could have provided enough money to mine all the people of this nation for 500 years. He doesn't understand why they got poor. While he and his family drizzling olive oil from expensive sterling silver, there are people in this country filling the children's belly with pap. And he does not understand. He knows how to count numbers. He knows how to trade. He knows how to exchange for a profit. But he doesn't know how to think. And he doesn't know how to reason. He has no logical deduction. And Anthony Bourdain might as well have been interviewing his dog, who could have shed more light and reason onto the situation. Because the disconnect, the disproportional inequality in this country is the source of the problem. Source of the problem. Trees grow from seeds. If you plant that, don't cuss when it grows. and it bear. The opportunities for the middle class and the lowest class to prosper is to the safety and the benefit of the upper class. And he said that. He understood it to the point in his ignorance where he said the middle class is a buffer. That's not what the middle class is. The middle class in any society is the repository of hope. That's what it is. The middle class tells those on top, if you fall, they have something to catch you. And those on the bottom, it says you can aspire to better. You can aspire to better. The middle class is the repository of hope in a country. And the problem with the royal, imperial, majestic banana of do what the hell you like land is that hope is dying. Hope is dying in Trinidad and Tobago. And the reason I made that gate my business is because that gate represented a line in the sand in Trinidad and Tobago between the classes. And the moment we allow that to become who we are, the consequences of such action will become inescapable, unavoidable, and we will rue the day that we sowed that wind, because we will reap the whirlwind. The violence that is growing in the anger and the hunger of the poor numbers in the hundreds of thousands. Police and soldiers consider the desperately poor mother, father, sister, brother, cousin, friend, neighbor. Your security guards in your gated community guard hut come from among the poor, not the rich. You cannot sow seeds of discord in a society and expect that the minority will prosper with money. Look at every country that fails. Look at what happens. Look at what causes failure. Disproportion, unequal distribution of the nation's wealth. We are not asking to put everybody from Laventille in Bayshore. We are saying, elect a government to office that treats with the needs of the people at the very bottom. Those who have the least, those who have the least amount of understanding, the least amount of equity, the least amount of voice. Treat with them. Because when they start to rise, when 700,000 people, poor, start to rise and have money to spend, where they spending it? Where they spending it? They're spending it in your store. The poor pushes the middle class, which raises the upper class, and everybody wins. We would have a society that functions if those on top knew that their mission, their responsibility is to shine a light for the bottom. Not to gate yourself off of them, but to bring them up, to pull them up, to tell your prime minister, listen, forget the bullshit. Stop focusing on crime and lock up and lock down. Start to focus on how do we kill the seeds of crime? What is the roundup? How do you undo and redo the nation in the at-risk, dispossessed hotspots? How do you cool them down? The solution is simple. Go where people have nothing and give them something. Make hope grow again in Trinidad and Tobago. You do not need gates. You need bigger tables. You need the poor to respect the rich. That respect is not caused by gates. Nowhere in the world, the Maginot Line, the Great Wall of China, none of those things survive. Walls and gates do not keep violence out. Walls and gates encourage more violence. What we need in Trinidad and Tobago are leaders who understand that the well-being of every single citizen in this country is the function, purpose, and reason for government. And the day we vote into office a government that treats with the issues most important to the desperately poor. Philip Edward Alexander, what are those issues? Jobs. Jobs is job one. Jobs. Give them jobs. Give them security of tenure. What is security of tenure? Give them careers. Give them the ability to become something where they don't have to go to work tomorrow and take off all their clothes for the boss if the boss asks for it. Give them, you don't have to rely on unions. Look at what Roger and the leadership of the OWTU just did to the workers of the union. Sold them out for pieces of silver. Roger and them business fixed the rest of the workers in the OWTU that marched their liver string out for him, them to catch. People messaging me from Greenville, boss, I don't know how they do it, but they create situations where some people don't qualify for nothing and lose everything. All the grant they're talking about, these people, the way the grants are worded, these people have nothing to get. They just lost everything. When you do that to a human being, you create a hungry, angry man who stops believing in the tenets of society. We are not a civilization. If you could cast me aside and treat my offspring. I watched a video about a young man with his 4 children on the promenade who let off a firecracker and the police arrested him and left his 4 children, 2 teenagers, 2 under the age of 10, on the promenade. He said they took him to jail, beat him and left him in a cell for 5 days. That if it wasn't the kindness of strangers, his children would have been stuck on the promenade. Why was this man put in a cell for 5 days for a firecracker? What was the point? Why did they need to beat him, bust up his head and his hand? Is it to protect and serve or to grab and beat? What is the message we send in here? Because our police service could functionally function in this country without killing, beating. And I know the joke they make with Fazir who say he would have run. Fazir talking shit because Fazir didn't think it through. But we do not have to, and I am not saying that in certain situations, the things are not going to end bad. But we can't be ramping up everybody. We can't be ramping up the society. We can't be pitting people against each other. This can't be a fight down. This can't be a lick up and a beat up and a kick up. This has to be a nation. This has to be a nation where the smallest and the poorest and the least is given the most hope and the most opportunity and the most respect. It's easy to respect people who can hire a lawyer and sue your ass, you know. Integrity and character and morality comes from people who understand that to whom much is given, much is expected. If I have power over you, it is not to be used against you. But we don't have that. We're a nation of stunters, tiny egos, big people but tiny egos. A man named Abu, I can't remember his first name, I think it's Peter Abu, attacked me in the worst way. I've known him since we small. I think he went Fatima, went St. Mary's, used to wave, hi, how you going? Never had more than 3 words in a conversation. Said the most vile things about me today. Why? Because I stand against the gate. And he thinks and they think that the gate represents something that they're losing. But if they only stopped for a minute to reason through this and to understand that without those same people that you're trying to exclude from your community, imagine if these people, all of the people, see this gate as you don't want me in your street, you don't want me in your neighborhood, no problem. But I'm going to stay out of your store too. I'm going to stay out of your restaurant. I'm going to stay out of your bakery. I'm not going to buy anything from you. I'm not going to work for you. I'm not going to have anything to do with you. I am going to leave you alone because I am not good enough to walk or drive through your street. That everybody who look like me is a bandit, no problem. We can't fix this country to the betterment of all, no problem. You alone must get rich. Let's wait and see. Because if everybody withhold their labor and nobody come in your business, nobody buy in your store, nobody come in your restaurant. Sabka didn't build Carib, you know. French Creoles named McEnany and Allstans built Carib Brewery, Guardian Media, all those things that Sabka bought, French Creoles built. An economic crisis drove them out of business. Sabga is just the present holder, beneficiary of that hard work. An economic crisis could move Sabga into the same penury and loss that they, McEnany and Allstans, suffered. They had companies in this country like Gordon Grant and Geddes Grant and H.E. Robinson and Woolworth and Stevens and Johnson's and all of them evaporated like 5 cents shave ice in hot sun Massive companies. They had more Ross drugs in this country than they have super farms now. And Ross drugs in one day. Kirpalani's was bigger than Francis Fashion in one day. Boom. That's how it works. And if the people that you don't want to drive through your neighborhood or to walk through your neighborhood stop coming to your store, stop buying your coffee and your burger and your pizza and your chicken and chips, turn their backs on you, stop coming to work for you in quick time, that gate that you want to put up will become the least of your worries as the bank starts calling you for the house that you're trying to secure. We need to understand the interconnectivity of all of us. Without the poor, the rich has nothing. Without those same people on the lowest rungs of society buying a Carib and a half pack of cigarette at the end of the week, Carib and Whitco will close down. Without those small people buying from the small companies, Mercedes-Benz and BMW can't sell. Because the people who buy in Mercedes-Benz and BMW, buying it on the profits of the lowest in society, the very small and the poor. Trinidad and Tobago needs to understand itself. It needs to come to terms with itself. It needs to learn that all of us together, we are this country. We are all of us together, Trinidad and Tobago. That's why we say one people under one flag. Because the day we get that, the day we understand that the small man buying by the middle class buys the rich man, all that shit, the day we get it, the day we start to respect each other and treat each other with a little more courtesy, the day those of us who could afford to go to West Shore and St. Clair stop, because I do all the time and say, give the people who use the Port of Spain General Hospital better. I don't have to talk about that. I will never be inside the Port of Spain General Hospital. Never. I will never have to go inside the San Fernando General Hospital. I fight for them. I fight for people and their conditions because I understand the interconnectivity of us all. And I know the country that Trinidad and Tobago could be. I know the nation, the paradise on earth that this country could be. All of us, we say, in normal Trini parlance, all of we just want to like ourselves. At the end of the day, all of we want to party at the level we party at, drink at the level we drink at. Some drinking puncheon, some drinking double dog, some drinking thing that $5,000 a glass. And you drink what your pocket could afford, but all of we doing the same thing. We do the same thing. We live the same life, just different levels. You have to make sure that if your plate full, others eating too. They don't have to be eating what you eating, but they're belly full too. Because hungry people at some point will be knocking on your door. We, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, have to come together as one people, committed to tearing down gates and building bridges. If we do not have that conversation, and I forgive everybody who attacks me, because I know that a lot of people come at this conversation from a position of raw ignorance. And I understand. There was a time I didn't know what I know. I have to forgive past me for not knowing. I know now. And I use my voice, my life, and my time to share this knowledge with as many people as possible. Because the more of us who know and understand how it's supposed to work, the faster we will get to a place where the words of the national anthem, here, every creed and race finds an equal place, will not only become true, it will become our reality. It is not our reality now. There is inequality and inequality rampant throughout this society. We, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, in our names, by our actions, directly and indirectly, by our votes and our apathy, by what we give our attention to and what we take our attention from, we made that so. We have the responsibility to undo and redo it. We have the responsibility to fix it. It is our country. If you are not packing up to leave, if you are not here on a plunder and a pillage to take the money to Miami, to go and stunt and pretend you're from there, learning your new accent. If what you want is a Trinidad and Tobago that works for all of the people, then get over yourself. Get beyond your ego. Forget this stunting. Like yourself and allow everybody else to like themselves too. Shutting the gates on Bayshore does nothing to secure Bayshore. Shutting the gates on Bayshore puts the rest of all of us in new danger. Let us ramp down the arms race. Let us get back to Trinidad and Tobago being that place we boast about, where all of it is one family. And some poor, and some rich, and some black, and some white, and some brown, and some green, and every shade in between. And some pray to Mother Lakshmi, and some pray to Jesus, and some pray to Muhammad. Peace be upon him. The truth of the matter is, I love the fact that I live in a country that shout a Baptist can ring the bell and have their religion, and I can take part in the Jose and not know what's going on. I love my Trinidad and Tobago, and I am seeing seeds being planted and sown that is going to destroy it. I am begging everybody, take a step back. Take a step back. Unclench your fists. Pull up your zip. Close your mouth. Open your mind. We need to get to a nation where every creed and race could in fact find an equal place. One people under one flag. Again, I say this. I have no interest in any public office. I want no contract, no shortcut, no easement, no blue lights. I don't do this for girls. I don't do it for likes. I see some people say, Philip, just jump on things for shares and likes. Listen, how does that help me? How does that put money in my pocket or food in my plate or help me further my life's agenda? Likes and shares? Come on, man. You think I like arguing all the bullshit I have to argue every single day with some people because that P&M education they boast about? It left a lot of our people ignorant. It left a lot of our people incapable of understanding. They have taught us what to think and forgotten to teach us how to think. And the job that I do every single day, I tell people, do not vote for me, but vote for somebody who tells you that you are important, that you have rights, and these are the rights you have. And this is the way to get us all of us, to a better nation where everybody could have hope and opportunity. That should be the vision for the country. Everybody should want. Everybody should want. Pray to Allah. I apologize, Aziza. This mission for the Progressive Empowerment Party, if you choose us, know that you're choosing a political organization built on the ideology and the philosophy of rebuilding the family, to rebuild the neighborhood, to rebuild the community. Because a nation is a collection of communities. If all of our communities work, we as a nation will prosper. If that is the vision of the Trinidad and Tobago that you want, let me stop the fighting. Now you could cuss my mother, I could cuss your father, and at the end of the cuss, both of we look like two jackasses. They have no benefit. Nobody wins. How about we have conversations where everybody wins? That could happen. This could be our reality. I'm asking everybody who saw this video today to share it, and don't stop sharing it, and sit with people and explain to them what you saw. Explain to them why it is imperative and important that all of us change the way we approach our collective condition. We are breaking Eden. We are destroying paradise. Rome is burning to the ground. If we want a better Trinidad and Tobago, we have to wake up. We have to stand up. We have to throw aside the fake racist voting that has never helped any race who voted race, and stand together as one people focused on outcomes, deliverables, not the what, the how, the when, the where, the who. Tell me why. Tell me why this is what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, who is going to do it, when is it going to be done, what is the outcome, how much it will cost, how will it benefit all of us. Show me the interconnectivity. I tell you, the Progressive Empowerment Party is standing on something called the Quality of Life Index, and everybody could resonate with that. We could all appreciate and understand when we are happy. If you want a better Trinidad and Tobago, stand together. I am here, and I will help find a better version of this post. Let's get the best, brightest prime ministers and ministers we could find. It doesn't have to be me, but I want it to be all of us together living in harmony. We could bring this country back to the paradise on earth, David Rudder said convincingly. that it was meant to be. Trinidad and Tobago, we could have that. Watch this video from start to finish. Watch it till you understand it, because this is the whole message here. This is the message. This is the undoing of the madness that is Trinidad and Tobago, and bringing it back to a place where everybody could be happy to call themselves Trini. I want that for me. If you want that for you, let's stand together. Stay safe, Trinidad and Tobago.